Morning. I'd like to call the public hearing for the CDBG and home program budget modification for October the 22nd to order. Kate.
Good morning. We are recommending the following budget revisions to the county's 2013 and 2015 community development block grant programs. The first is to cancel the activity economic development business loan Lemoyne Borough. The borough determined there's no longer need for this project and recommended that we dump this back into the general county-wide economic development.
How much was that?
Pot. It was for $29,791.13. The second is to cancel the 2013 activity acquisition for the Good Hope Road blight removal in Hampton Township. The township decided not to pursue the acquisition of this property for the removal of the blight. And that totaled $52,150. So for 2013, we're recommending to increase the existing activity economic development, the countywide shop study loans, by $81,941.13. In 2015, we're recommending that we cancel the activity public facility streetscape improvement 17th Street crosswalks in Camp Hillborough. This was originally a 2012 activity, and we've not had any contact with the borough. They've been non-responsive about doing this project, and so we decided to cancel that activity in the amount of $40,000 and also add that to the economic development countywide shop study loans. Total for all three activities will be $121,941.13. This not only provides the county the economic development activity funding available, but also will help the county meet its timing deadline on November 2nd of this year. Any questions?
Any questions for the hearing? Hearing none? Thank you very much. I'll turn the workshop meeting over to the chief clerk.
Welcome everybody to the Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop meeting of October 22nd, 2015. Please rise and pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Call the meeting to order, please, and open the floor for public comment. Hearing and seeing none. We go on to item number 3, the discussion of the revisions to the county's CDBG program budget. Kate again.
I would just recommend that the commissioners on Monday approve the revisions discussed at the hearing.
Are there any projects in the pipeline for those dollars that you know of right now?
That I know of right now, no. But you'll see in the next item that I have, we're not recommending funding the shop setting program in 2016. And so doing it this way ensures that there's enough money for both 2015 and 2016. The total will be $251,941.13. And that would include these revisions and then $130,000 that the commissioners approved for 2015.
Kate, you're on a roll. Discussion of resolution 2015-27 authorizing submission of fiscal year 2016 annual action plan for CDBG and home funds.
As you'll recall, I was here a couple of weeks ago and discussed the proposed budget for the 2016 annual action plan. The public comment period expires at the close of business today. I don't anticipate any comment. I didn't have any today. It's been on display since the 22nd of September, and I haven't had any comments to date. So I feel confident that the budget that you review will be the final budget submitted to HUD. And so we would recommend on Monday that you authorize that submission.
Any questions or comments for Kate? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. I'd like to recognize myself regarding the memorandum of understanding, strategic partnership agreement between Cumberland County Library System Board and the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. As everyone recalls, an extensive consensus building project was undertaken between the county and our library system, the result of which was an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, which you have in front of you. The original draft was amended with comments made by the commissioners to include part of the partnership, the joint advocacy for restoration of cuts
believe will be January 1, 2016. So you can, before that date, make any appointments to those two seats.
So we need to consider essentially who we might want to serve on that, and perhaps seek volunteers to serve on that.
That's correct. Given the timing of this, you may want to start looking relatively soon.
And those are 2-year appointments, correct? Or are those boards staggered?
They're staggered boards. I forget the term. I think it's 4.
Okay.
It's like a,
2
an authority.
2 4-year terms.
2 4-year terms. I'll confirm that. I think that's the case.
And just Kirk Stoner has been sort of a guest participant at the board meetings for the last month or so on an interim basis without any voting rights. Any further questions for Solicitor Brennan?
The only point I would make on that is Kirk also should have a stable of potential candidates if we're going to get to that
He's
point.
working on it.
Okay. Because he used to manage the county's transportation authority. So yeah, we have a lot of fine folks there who might be interested. Thank you.
Okay. I'll turn it over then to Sandy for contracts.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin by calling on Robin Weigel to discuss 2 agreements between assessment and evaluator services and technology. Robin?
Good morning. The first contract is our annual software maintenance, which includes our DOA clean and green recount. There's no increase to that contract. And the second one is our annual homestead farmstead invitation letter and postcard, which is a requirement, and it is 100% reimbursed by the school districts.
It's actually a requirement of the school districts, but we do it on their behalf.
Yes, because we maintain the data, so we take care of everything, and then they reimburse us for the cost.
And if there's no change, you get the card, whether there's a change or no change.
As long as your status is still approved, you automatically will get a postcard that says that. You know,
Why
at the
would you not
time,
get a postcard to say that your status has changed?
because if the
Would that be more
status changes, that makes the property eligible, they get an invitation with an application.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if there's no change, why is there an expense to reach out to tell you that there's no change?
Because there could have been a change from the time we pull the data until the mailing goes out. We may still have a property as owner occupied, and the mailing address is going to the property. But the owner actually moved somewhere else and hasn't changed that address. Know that it's not still owner occupied. So when they get the postcard, oh, but I don't live at that property anymore, then they contact us. We can take them out of approval on that property, and they say, well, I bought this, and then they can receive an application to apply for the new property where they are legally owner occupied.
Are there any other questions for Robin? Thank you, Robin. Next, I'd like to call on Annette to discuss the 6 agreements for CNRC. Annette?
Yes, the first one is a revenue contract. It is the Aetna Better Health. It is the Medicaid managed care product. We would be paying the same, or we would be receiving, the same rate as the other traditional Medicaid rate of $213.65. The next one is the third staffing contingency contract. We had 2 in the last meeting. This is the third one. Our aim is not to use this for staffing of CNAs, but in a contingency plan, in an emergency, or in a staffing situation, we would be able to have access to their CNAs.
So there's no required utilization?
That is correct. That is correct.
And no cost unless we
would use.
Right.
Davis Landscape, that is the landscape design for the CNRC courtyard that we had been working on with the endowment. And this is a $2,000 for the architectural design and the plans and everything that would be needed to design the courtyard.
And Lynette, who's Who's reviewing those plans, or who will review those?
It would be, as far as I know, it would be Brad and Raymond and the endowment group.
I think we had a pretty healthy group there, and that they gave real good input on this. And I mean, we hopefully will be having a sort of Friends of CNRC Foundation in the future. But
Right.
it was a pretty good group, and the more they stay involved in this,
The more
I think the better.
camaraderie.
The better
Yes.
thing will be out.
Is there a resident representative on the group?
Yes.
Yes.
The head of the residence council.
That's correct. The fourth item on here is just the preliminary work paperwork to credential us with United Healthcare, so that if we meet their expectations, that they would be able to issue us a revenue contract, and then that contract would also be coming back to the board at that point.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be picky. You said expectations, you mean their requirements?
Mhm.
Because it's hard to meet people's expectations.
I'm sorry. my
Requirements
expectations.
are.
Requirements.
Fine.
Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes. And the fourth item is a state requirement for all Medicaid providers to be revalidated by the May 31st, 2016. Some of the departments within Cumberland County have already done this. This is our application to be revalidated at Claremont. And the sixth item is the update of our individuals on our NPI, which is just basically our national provider number. It is to add Raymond and basically just clean up of the persons who are on that as contacts and as responsible parties. Any questions?
One quick, I don't mean to beat the endowment thing to a pulp, but when that design is presented, reviewed, and finalized, can we present that to the commissioners?
Absolutely.
Here at a workshop or at a board meeting? Because I think we're all very proud of that gift, and I think we're all also very proud of what we've done and the way we've gone about in terms of how to use that. This being kind of like the major suggestion that came out of this, sort of like the whole fruit of the labor. So I think it'd be really great to get that in front of the commission. I think, and I'm pretty excited to see what it comes out of.
And to ensure that John Lockout Facilities is partly to that conversation for Brad.
Brad is the driver of this.
Okay. For maintenance, long-term
Yes.
products being used, a variety of things.
Yes. Brad is the main driver in coordination with John.
And if in the design includes numerous and various chainsaw sculptures of wild animals, bears and stuff, like they have out there now, I know where we can get them in Virginia,
Okay.
in West Virginia.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you, Lynette. Next, I'd like to call on Sylvia Herman to discuss the health choices contract with Sylvia.
Morning. This is a health choices contract item that is actually an amendment to an existing contract and agreement. The county's current contract with Perform Care, who's our behavioral health managed care company, for our 5-county collaborative, runs through June 30, 2016. However, there's a need to amend that contract because of the corresponding changes in Health Choices and Department of Human Services regarding removal of Healthy PA and implementation of MA expansion. So the primary purpose of this agreement is to accommodate the Department of Human Services termination of Healthy PA and in its place add the Medicaid expansion. This also addresses updated reinvestment sharing arrangements, updated risk corridor arrangements, changes to the program standards and requirements under Health Choices, and also the annual updated insurance information that's needed. As the membership in Health Choices grows, that also then changes the insurance requirements around risk and those kinds of things. Because there's more people, so we need more coverage there. Execution of Amendment 2, which is the amendment that is in front of you, is required for each county to continue participation in health choices. As you know, our collaborative contracts with Lawrence Cabas from Obermeyer, Revman, Maxwell, and Hippel to represent the county's interests. And Mr. Cabas did furnish a letter recommending that each set of county commissioners in the collaborative accept and execute the agreement. So Jack, Carol, and I, as representatives on the Health Choices Board, are requesting the commissioners approve the amendment to the current Health Choices Agreement between our 5-county collaborative and Perform Care at the meeting on October 26th. All the information has been presented to Solicitor Brennan for review before coming to you.
So Perry County is also
Yes,
received that.
yes.
Seeing a nod here from the solicitor, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
it needs to be done, and I understand the opinion of special counsel.
Okay.
Sylvia, I'm sorry, is this a drug and alcohol contract?
No, it's a Health Choices contract.
Yeah.
For all
Right.
human services?
Well, for drug and alcohol and mental health.
I got
The
you.
2 behavioral health services that are connected to Health Choices.
Okay, so should the minutes reflect that it's in both of them and not just drug and alcohol?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Sylvia. Next, I'd like to call on Holly Sherman to discuss the Capital Blue Cross program cost rate paid for retirees on the HRA plan who are Medicare eligible. Holly?
Good morning, Commissioners. About 2 months ago, you had approved a renewal for 2016 for our other insurance plans. This rate sheet was inadvertently not included, so this is just strictly for those retirees who are on the HRA plan and are Medicare eligible. 100% of the premium is paid by the retirees, and we just need to have this signed off so that the new rates can go into effect for January 1st, 2016.
Any questions for Holly? Thank you, Holly. Next, I'd like to call on Mick to discuss the CCAP insurance programs, accidental death and disbursement insurance renewal. Mick?
The Adult Probation Department runs a program where instead of being sentenced to prison, offenders can do a community service. And as part of that, we have a insurance program in case they get injured during that service. It's $4 a year per participant, which is charged back to them through fines and costs. It makes it easier for people to accept the help, knowing that they're not on the whole type of.
Thank you, Nick. Next, I'd like to call on Mark Adams to discuss the agreement between IMTO and Kistler O'Brien Fire Protection Inc. Mark?
Good morning, Commissioners. Every 6 months, we have the server room in the basement of the courthouse, the fire suppression system, and the water detection system inspected. This is just a contract to formalize that over the next 3 years and stabilize costs. Total contract is $3,503. It'll cover us through 2018. We'll pay it every 6 months. We won't pay it all in one shot, but as they perform the service.
Is there any, did we have an agreement?
We never had an agreement in the past. We just paid every 6 months. When we needed it, it was only $500. We just decided it was good to formalize that. There were some liability concerns, and we're trying to stick to keep costs without inflating too high. We've been using it for a long time.
Any other questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark. Next, I'd like to call on Sue to discuss the 3 MHIDD agreements for fiscal year 2015-16 for early intervention. Sue?
Thank you. The 3 contracts that we have there are for early intervention. They're new contracts. Geneva Worldwide is our interpretation service, which we are required to have for some of the families. That's in the amount of $3,000. And the 2 contracts for Jennifer Matico is a therapist who was specifically requested by one of our families. One of the contracts is for base services, the other is for labor services. And together they total about $5,000.
Sue, how does, just 2 questions. So you said this was by request? We don't
Yes.
usually deal with this person?
No.
This is not a provider that we normally use?
Now,
Okay, so 2 questions. Number 1, how does their cost compared to the cost of the people we do use, and what, is there a basis on which requests like this are evaluated?
This opt-out tells us that whenever the family makes a specific request, we should do our very, very best to accommodate that family. So we are accommodating that family. There is also a rate schedule, so every therapist, no matter what county they're from, gets the same rate for the service. Okay?
Our very, very best, so that's pretty
Our
serious.
very, very best.
So Geneva World is technology driven. It's not an individual.
That,
In your
yeah.
translation and interpretation.
That I'm not sure of. Is it?
Well, I'm asking.
That I don't know. I can check for
I mean,
you.
is it, it's just by phone?
For EI, typically if the phone or technology is an option and available, that's used. However, families can require that there be that there be an interpreter present. So typically, yes.
Okay.
But families have the right to require that, or request that, and we need to comply with that as part of
So the
regulation.
Geneva World would bring in an individual.
They would
Typically,
send one, yes.
yeah, typically, most of the interpreter contracts
Right.
have folks in different places so that they do have the capability of sending someone in, if need be. So
Okay.
they have, most of them have like one or two interpreters in the area who might speak, what was that language, something we've never heard of before. Some languages is.
Spanish.
No, some dialect of some, so, yeah, but.
The
that is-
liability on those interpreters is through this contract.
They have to meet, these contracts have to meet the criteria as established by the county. So that
Okay.
they have their,
Big difference in translation and interpretation.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that's why my question is, are you doing this by phone, or does an individual come in and then become part of this case?
Either.
Okay. And the liability on that individual goes through Geneva World.
Geneva, correct,
Okay.
correct.
And this is new. Anybody else using these guys?
I don't know that.
I don't know.
Okay.
We've tried other interpretation services that do not meet our requirements for insurance liability. So Geneva is the one that we were able to
Okay.
obtain. Typically, they send a person because it's much easier if there's a body there that can do the
So-
translation.
So when we engage an interpreter or translator, do we pay additional beyond the 3,000 we're paying to Geneva Worldwide?
No?
That's covered, so
That's covered.
whether we bring in 5 or 50?
Doesn't matter.
Wow, okay. And these people sometimes, they come from, they can come from far and wide, yes? These people, depending on the language that you need?
Yeah, but most times they have, I know there is one person, I can't think of the language, but there's one person in the area who speaks whatever that language is, who works for this company, who's going to work for translation for this family. You know, so they'll be here to do that, but there's only one person in the entire area who speaks that language.
Okay.
Other than the families, but they are not even translated.
Are there any other questions for Sue?
Not on the matter, but since you ladies, I know, are going to leave momentarily. We'll break protocol just for a second here. I was unable to attend the MHIDD meeting because it was in Perry County and conflicted. So since you're here, is there anything to report out to the commissioners, topics of interest that were discussed there other than the budget and pass, which we're already knowledgeable of?
Right. The two new Cumberland County appointees were at the meeting, Dr. Greiner and Dr. Royer. And so we spent time also, you know, kind of doing some integration kinds of things around that. And the budget impasse, of course, was a lengthy conversation.
I'm sure everyone's dominant topic. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Next, Kirk Stoner joining us via video teleconferencing. Yes, thank you. And and he will be discussing Lobar Associates extension request for 2015 bridge maintenance repairs. Kirk?
Greetings from Island Road. What we have here is Lobar Associates doing our 2015 maintenance contract. Schedule extension to some bituminous work and also some concrete work. HRG has reviewed the agreement that we should grant the extension. The reason for the extension really is with the economic spike, there's been a bigger demand for asphalt products, and for these projects, we really have a small demand, and our small demand is met, bigger projects that are going on in the county right now.
How long's the extension?
They'll complete the work in April. They can't do paving now, given the temperature, same way as the concrete work is best done during the warmer time frame.
April 2016.
Yep.
Are there any other questions for Kirk? Thank you, Kirk.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, I'd like to call on Janet Scott. She will be discussing 4 agreements for the prison. Janet?
Agreements. Morning, Commissioners. The first agreement is with Clark Service Group. This agreement is a planned maintenance agreement which will provide inspection and maintenance, preventive maintenance for the prison's kitchen equipment, refrigeration, and food service equipment to the amount of $3,300 a year. The second agreement is with the Aramark Food Service. They originally had a 3-year agreement with 2 out years. This is our second out year, and they are looking at agreeing to provide the second out year with the same cost, meal costs that we have had since the year 3. So we are going into the 3rd year with the same meal cost. And that will be the final year for that service. We'll have to rebid after that. The third agreement is basically a contract which states all parties agree to abide by the HIPAA regulations with Chronic Care Medical.
The inspection on the food, that's one time a year?
No, it's there's 2 inspections and 2 preventive maintenance visits.
So there's 4 visits.
Correct.
John, what did you say the cost of that was?
$3,300.
$3,300.
So if they identify a maintenance issue, then that just gets reverted.
We are finding, believe it or not, we are finding that we have had a lot of individual maintenance costs which will exceed the $3,300 with the equipment which is supposed to have been new since the expansion that we did. So we're hoping that this will reduce our repair costs on that equipment and help extend the life of the equipment.
But the warranties would or would not still have covered some of it?
The warranties have covered some of it. They're basically
Agreed
yes.
upon. Okay.
Thank you, Janet. Next, I'd like to call on Bob Shively to discuss agreements between Public Safety and Middle Consulting, Priority Dispatch, and an addendum number 3 for Mission Critical Partners. Bob?
Good morning, Commissioners. The first one is Middle Consulting. That is our vendor for the critical applicant testing software. And that is at the current rate we're locked in. $1,099 a year. Hold on. Okay. $1,099 a year. It is using eligible 911 funding, and that's no increase past couple of years. The second one is Priority Dispatch. That is our emergency medical dispatch protocol software. The 911 center uses to prioritize the calls and determine the response levels, along with pre-arrival instructions for choking, childbirth, and CPR. That cost is $8,785.50. That's no change year to year, and that is also eligible 911 funding. And the third one is just a date extension for the contract with mission critical partners, and they provide the technical support for the 911 plan and 911 funding application, as well as reconciliation of those and audit that. We had originally approved $60,000 several years ago, and we still have $35,832 remaining, and that is also from 911 funding.
Hey, Bob, on the first two, what's indicated here is new, but I'm also reading that they're renewal of a one-year agreement. Is this a new contract, or are these renewals of existing agreements in place?
They are all they are renewals. Everything is in existence.
Okay.
Sorry, they are definitely renewals.
Okay. And there are, the first you said was part of 911 funding, and the 8,000 is no change, but can that go back? He's gone. All right, I just want to know if the 8,000 can go back to 911 funding or not. Can we find that out?
I was going to ask him about his animal there, some redecorating.
Hey, I own that lamp behind his head. All right. Another day, I know, I've seen that home before. Anyway, okay, so not new, renewed. No change on the first, $1,000, and that goes back to 911, but we're not sure about the 8,000 on 911. Okay.
I think you said it in all three of them.
I want to make sure about that, the 8,000. The first one, maybe.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Where's Kirk?
Maybe, maybe not.
Are we having a system?
I was more than having trouble with Bob.
Well, we didn't have trouble with Kirk before.
No.
Mark, what would
Can you try calling back into the, can you try hanging up and calling back into the conference room?
Is John coming on this? Is John coming on the same one, or is we?
Second floor, ladies wear.
Is Justin and John, are they all coming on the same?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
6, 1, 0, 0.
Hey, Bob, we lost you there, Bob.
Hey, you're back.
Yeah.
We were talking to Kirk.
That's great, but we still got questions for you, Bob. You can't get off that easy.
I wanted to confirm that the 8,000 was also coming out of 911 funding.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So $9,000 is coming back from 911. 1,000 on the first one and the 8,000 on the other.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thanks.
And Bob, we wanted to know if you've been doing some redecorating down at the 911 center. It's a very nice animal you have down there. Can I just point out a couple of the little knickknacks you got out there?
Okay, I think I own that lamp behind me.
I'm actually off today, thanks.
Off?
What?
Huh? All right, thank you, Bob.
I'm never off.
Very nice. I'll be talking to you about that animal. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 8. Kirk, discussion of PennDOT multimodal grant fund application funding for a sample bridge in Silver Spring Township.
Sure, okay. Commissioners, PennDOT just reopened their multimodal fund grant program. It opened here recently. It runs through December 18th. Provides up to $3 million for certain multimodal projects that link land use and transportation. We thought it would be a good idea to apply this time around for Sample Bridge in Silver Spring Township. It's one of our last remaining structurally deficient bridges that we need to replace. Silver Spring Township's been taking voluntary contributions from a developer of a residential development around that area for replacing the bridge. They have over $250,000 collected met with the township. We'd like to partner up with them, put their money together with our money, and apply for $3 million from the multimodal fund to help replace this bridge. There's a 30% local match, so I realize with the state funding issues and some of the initiatives we have to put in place here to save money, I realize they're in place, but the money for this grant will come from our capital bridge improvement program. So we'd be looking at about a 30% cost share. That cost share would be split between Silver Springs contribution and then the funding we have here as part of our capital improvement program.
Any questions or comments for Kirk? Kirk, you might want to talk to Bob about redecorating your office.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, thank you, Kirk. Is John going to be coming? John going to be coming on?
Yeah, we're going to throw. I have the tiger here, and John will come in and sit down.
All righty, thank you. Okay, item number 9, John Waugh, request to authorize advertising for bids for grass mowing and trimming for Cumberland County properties.
Yes, Commissioners, we're coming to the end of the mowing season for 2015, and I'd like to request, we're also coming to the end of the contract, so I'd like to request authorization to put these out for bid again, and so we're prepared for the 2016 mowing season.
We could do just a rock garden from all the stones getting blasted from across the street. Maybe they can just, you know, bring in sort of the drought kind of, you know, southwestern effect of just a bunch of rocks.
Cactus.
Yes,
Yeah.
interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite interesting down here.
Any more vibration from any of the blasting?
Oh, my
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
John, we have a question. Is Justin on a kind of an oval track? Because we keep seeing him coming in that door and going out.
I don't think there are that many doors in that room.
He's pacing.
He's a little nervous, he's been pacing,
All right, well, he's up next.
All right, any more questions for John on the mowing and trimming? All right, thanks, John.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10, pacing Justin. Request to file a grant application to DEP for acquisition of a compost turner and permission to advertise intent to apply to the recycling funding.
Morning, Commissioners. My office is right next door, so it's easy for me to pace over there. Anyhow, DEP has recently announced a new Section 902 recycling grant round. We currently have 2 1994 compost turners that have both suffered a major drive component failure in the past. Matter of fact, after the second turner broke, we patched it back together and have been using the other machine as a parts machine to keep it limping along. That was done in 2012, and we estimated we could get about 5 more years out of the machine. I met with our Yard Waste Steering Committee on October 14th and just asked their opinion on whether we should apply for any type of equipment, and almost immediately it was unanimous that we need to apply for funding for a new compost turner. The authority backed that recommendation up at their October 19th authority meeting. Maximum grant award is $250,000. Machine today is going for about $240,000. There is a 10% match requirement, which we could easily meet with the capital replacement funds that we've been collecting from the municipal users. Unlike other 902 rounds, this one has a quick due date of November 20th. They usually give us a couple months to do this. So today I'm coming before you to ask for permission simply to proceed with putting together the application. And the main reason is if you intend to apply for funding for processing equipment, you have to do a legal notice for 2 consecutive weeks. And then you have to include proof of that with your application. So I'm proposing, if you grant permission to move forward, advertising the weeks of November 2nd and November 9th. I tentatively have a pre-application meeting scheduled with DEP for November 5th. And then what I would do is come back to you on the November 19th workshop with a completed application. Hopefully get your signatures that day so I can get it in the mail by November 20th.
So you're looking for a motion today, Justin? You're looking.
Not today, Yeah, this could occur on Monday, but I need to get the process rolling, but it could wait till Monday.
I wouldn't have an objection to, making the motion today if my colleagues would be in agreement on that.
Well, I mean,
Well, I mean, because it sounds as though time is of the essence and he's looking for, consideration. We'd wait till Monday, whatever everybody wants to do.
Justin, is there any advantage to us taking the action today? Does that grant you some additional time? It's helpful at all?
I don't think at this point there is, but when I come back on the 19th, which will be a workshop, I will need you to take action that day, which will be approval of the final, grant application.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
so you ready for Saturday?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm
Hope you do as well.
I'm cleaning out my house, so.
Hey, Justin, have you been talking about the grocery,
Yeah.
about fashion tips now? You got the New Jersey shirt on. You got the New Jersey shirt on.
Oh, yeah. Well, ABC 27 is coming in here in about an hour to interview about the event on Saturday.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Hey, Justin, just
Get that word out.
for everybody's information on that on Saturday, relative to computers, do the citizens have to do anything with their hard drives, or how is that going to be handled, like if they have an old computer?
Yeah, the vendor that we're using has data erasure and destruction methods incorporated into their process, so that the resident does not have to do anything. They certainly can if they know how to do that, and it makes them feel more comfortable.
Okay. When does the company actually do that in terms of cleaning the hard drive or whatever is involved? Do they do that?
It would happen at the material will go back to their processing plant in Philadelphia. So there would be a period of the transportation, but at that point, that's when the data destruction would occur.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Anything else for Justin? Thank you, Justin. Moving on to
Thank
item
you.
number 11, call on Mark Adams, discussion on the authorization to issue requests to proposals, telephone services for Cumberland County government. Mark.
Good morning, again, Commissioners. Every 3 years, well, we have a 3-year contract right now for telephone service, and that's local and long distance calls. It expires at the end of this year, and we're seeking permission to issue an RFP to renew that service with whatever company decides to put a bid in. Currently, our 3-year contract, the total comes to around $126,000 over a 3-year period. We're well below that total dollars, but we still want to advertise and get the best service for the dollars that we can.
Okay, on page 6. The local exchange service from Carlisle to include establish, embark, local calling areas in Harrisburg and Canton. Here's my note. What about Shippensburg at that end? Are they toll calls when you're calling from here?
I don't know for sure. I believe yes.
Why would the whole county not be covered?
Depends on
I'm
the
just
service.
saying.
It depends on the service
I mean, if
provider.
I'm calling Harrisburg, why can't I call inside?
Because most of our calls end up going to Harrisburg. So 3 years ago when we talked about, and I wasn't part of that 3 years ago, but we analyzed where our calls went and we reallocated most of our calls come through or to Harrisburg, Mechanicsburg, Camp Hill area. And so they got a better deal by making that local instead of Shippensburg local. Years ago, Shippensburg and Carlisle, or Chambersburg were actually local calls. And they flip-flopped to save costs based on call volume.
Is it a local call now from the West Shore to Carlisle?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because there
From
for a while
Carlisle,
wasn't.
from Carlisle to the West Shore. From here out, it's a local call.
What about from the West Shore here?
I don't know what service, what provider they have.
Well, you've got the exchanges here, like, all the Mechanicsburg ones, like, 506, whatever.
But that's calls from here to them.
Right.
That's not calls from outside people to us.
Well, right, But from us to them, meaning the county to businesses, constituents, whatever, it is the full county. Now, people calling in, I respect that, but that's their own phone service. Our phone service is outreach to all the residents in the county. So, you get my drift.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if I can change that. I don't know if I can talk to a vendor and have them give us local calls for the entire county, because I think it would be cost prohibitive.
Oh, but you could ask them and get a price.
Sure.
Or didn't we used to have a toll-free? No,
We do.
We still do?
Yeah.
We still maintain that, okay.
But people can call into us.
Toll free, yes.
Right.
And then I think that's part of the contract for the RFP. That was to continue.
I mean,
that
this bill's
service.
getting paid by the taxpayers.
Yes.
What about voice over internet?
We're investigating that. We have some plans to use voice over IP internally, and we can convert that to what they call SIP trunking and save long distance calls. The folks at CenturyLink, we've had some brief conversations with them, and they don't think that would even save us too much money. So we're still investigating that.
I think a lot of the providers, the reliability is a little suspect yet too. That technology is moving rapidly. We'll probably be there soon. Something to
So
consider.
it depends on your vendors and your service providers and all that. It really does play into the quality of service.
So Mark, in your RFP, you'll ask for alternative pricing, current, and in terms of local, what's local, what's not, and what it would cost to include the entire county.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Anything else for Mark? All right, we'll move on to commissioner liaison reports.
I only have a few things. As part of Ag Extension, the 4-H program held their awards event last Monday the 12th. 3 county residents were recognized for their 50 years of service to 4-H. Commissioner Herzler and I presented the county awards along with Senator John Eisenberger, and Representative Will Tallman brought recognition to these 3 residents from the General Assembly. Children and Youth Advisory Board is going to meet on the 4th of November. As part of the Children and Youth program, though, I'd like to highlight that the YWCA of Carlisle, as part of their annual Week Without Violence, held the Positive Youth Leadership Conference on Tuesday of this week. 8 area high schools participated, and they were Carlisle High School, Boiling Springs, Mechanicsburg High School, Cumberland Valley, Harrisburg Side Tech, Dauphin County Tech, Big Spring High School, and Dauphin County Technical School in that program. Conservation District hosted a 14-county meeting on Monday. And I checked in with Carl at that meeting. And as part of the budget impasse, while regional directors were in attendance, those state employees did not attend. But what was interesting in the conversation was that they were told simply not to leave the office, although transportation could have been provided from other federal and other county agencies for them to attend. What was decided at this meeting, the State Association dues will be increased by 10%. That would then increase the cost of about $190 for Cumberland County for 15-16. Both drug and alcohol and Ag Extension will have their meetings the first week of November. On Wednesday, I participated in a breakfast roundtable. Elected officials, many of you are familiar with Governing Magazine. They chose to come to the Radisson for their Pennsylvania Leadership Forum this time, and again brought back the program that they presented. It was a day-long event, but I was only able to attend the breakfast. I would like to give a sort of pitch here for the Controller's popular annual financial report that is made available each year, and I've used this on many occasions, and will draw your attention to page 10. It will tell you where your local dollar is being spent, and a great publication from the controller. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Commissioner Cross. Commissioner Herzog.
Okay, the Local Emergency Planning Committee met October 8th and approved with some corrections a set of updated bylaws. I think they were mostly minor adjustments, but those bylaws with the corrections are going to be distributed at the November meeting of the Local Emergency Planning Committee. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board met Tuesday afternoon, October 13th, and took action to propose an Affordable Housing Trust Fund budget for 2016. Ben Loudermilk is expected to come to us at our next workshop, November 5th, to present the budget and also to recommend the appointment, reappointment of various board members whose terms are expiring. In other action, it was reported that 26 families have been helped through September of this year with the purchase of their first home via the board's down payment and closing cost assistance program. And now, since the inception of the program 17 years ago, a total of 606 Cumberland County families have been helped with the purchase of their first home. On Wednesday, October 14th, I attended a special community development block grant workshop that was hosted by our redevelopment authority at the Bosler Library to give grant subrecipients information regarding the federal rules and regulations with respect to the community development block grant program. In particular, there was emphasis on the need for grant recipients to meet the timetables that are involved for utilization of the funds once they've been awarded, since delays can mean penalties and/or the loss of funds in a pool of funding that is diminishing in any event. The Agricultural Land Preservation Board also met last Wednesday and approved a motion to recommend a $350,000 2016 program year general fund contribution for farmland preservation. The board also approved the purchase of a so-called bargain sale to preserve 62 acres of farmland by only paying 50% of the easement cost. The board also recommended the reappointment of Farm Representative Boyd Weary to a new 3-year term on the Farmland Preservation Board. I had a conversation briefly with our solicitor this morning as to when we might be able to act on that, but I do have the recommendation memo from Stephanie Williams at the Planning Department with respect to that. So, if we're in a position that we can act on that on Monday, I'd like to be able to do that. In addition, the status of the municipal representative on the board, Vince DiFilippo, whose term is also expiring on the Preservation Board, will await the outcome of the November 3 election. The Aging Advisory Board met Friday, October 16. Among the topics of discussion was an increase in caseload with respect to protective services and nursing home assessments. We may soon have a request to hire additional staff. The rule is that care managers should only handle about 30 cases. What we heard was that one or perhaps more of our care managers are now handling as many as 60 cases. Of course, making ends meet is all the more difficult by the $120,000 increased cost in the Office of Aging from the July 12 pay increase for some employees, and also because of that pay increase for some, way above what other counties are paying for life positions. It was also reported that our senior centers will likely not see the kind of financial support they received over the past couple of years. It was also reported at the meeting that the Office of Aging, as a result of the ongoing state budget impasse, is now owed more than $800,000 so far. And we're also waiting on a recommendation on appointments and reappointments to the Aging Advisory Board with respect to several members' terms who are expiring at the end of the year. And I'll also ask for the advice of the solicitors to when we should consider those recommendations that are still potentially forthcoming. On Monday evening, I attended the meeting of the Capital Region Council of Governments. Senator Vance was in attendance, and nothing new to report relative to the ongoing, and as she described it, embarrassing impasse on the state budget. The COG is very preliminarily looking into the possibility of creating a building codes department to provide plan review, permit issuance, and inspections for a collection of municipalities that may be interested in a cost savings joinder for such services. On Tuesday, with Commissioner Eichelberger, I attended the CADIC board meeting in the morning, and in the evening, the Municipal Advisory Board meeting. And since the Municipal Advisory Board meeting primarily had a discussion of the library, I'll probably defer to Commissioner Eichelberger on both of those, because he's also the liaison to CADIC. And yesterday morning, I was on hand with our aging department staff for the opening of the Senior Expo at the Carlisle Expo Center. Huge crowd in attendance, and a lot of information relative to how older folks can live longer lives and stay active and productive citizens. So
Did somebody have flu shots available there?
I didn't notice.
I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Did they? Okay, I thought that they did, and they had in the past, but I wasn't able to be there because I was.
We did have
doing
one of
something
our prescription, unused prescription take.
Yeah, the boxes, they were provided to do that, but I wasn't real sure about not flu shots.
There was.
Okay.
Big turnout. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for Commissioner Ernst? Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, as Jim mentioned, the Municipal Advisory Board was the other evening, and he and I were in attendance. We had about a dozen municipalities there. We generally like to have more, but I think they got a lot of value out of it. And as we continue to reinvigorate the Municipal Advisory Board, I think we'll get the attendance there. It was a really good meeting. I think everybody thought it was worthwhile. We did have the library presentation, a lot of discussion on that. That was the bulk of the time, a lot of questions. But we also had Kirk Stoner gave a little orientation regarding the county bridge rehabilitation and renovation, a reconstruction project that was well received. And John Bittner, of course, was in to give us the West Nile mosquito show. And that was very entertaining and informative, and provided a nice break from some of the more humdrum issues, I'd say. We also had some open floor discussion, and a lot of folks indicated interest in the electronics recycling. That's going to be a very big thing, continue to be a very big thing in this county. There's a lot of interest in our municipalities out there on seeing that continue, because there's a great deal of need out there. So good session, and looking forward to more as we continue to promote the Municipal Advisory Board again. As I mentioned, the recycling, the board, just a reminder that the event is Saturday, beginning at 8 o'clock at the fairgrounds. And as I say, we're expecting a big turnout. Let's see, Justin covered the rest with the grant proposals. Planning Commission was last week. The board had the presentation regarding the economic development plan, and voted to approve that, to pass along a recommendation to us on that. They did have some comments for some changes that were discussed at the CADIC meeting. I think some of those will be implemented. Steve also gave us the demonstration of the land use planning, the mapping tool that they're using now. It's very impressive, nice tool. It'll be very handy. The CADIC that I already covered, let's see. Library board met last week, of course, and topic, of course, was the budget didn't pass again. No surprise there. We did get a bit of a briefing on some of the initial impacts that the library system will bear if there's not a resolution. Just like everybody else, they're facing some pretty drastic consequences if there isn't resolution in Harrisburg relatively soon. They did vote to approve the MOU that we are discussing, and then come before the board Monday, right? It's on our agenda for Monday. And also there was discussion and an action to present a request to the commissioners for a transfer from the reserve fund. That'll be coming to us. Is that coming to us Monday as well? I think that's actually maybe later, but we will be getting because that's our standard transfer to the strategic development fund.
I'll be having Janelle's back.
Yeah, she's on vacation now, so we'll probably get that at the next meeting. And that's everything I have.
Any comments or questions from Commissioner Eichelberger? Thank you. Item 13, I would like to report on an executive session that was held October 15th, 2015 at 10:30 a.m. regarding personnel issues, and request an executive session regarding personnel issues today. Is there any other business to come before the Board of Commissioners? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.